Nalanda Mahavihar was one of the oldest universities in the world, which housed more than 10,000 students and 1,500 teachers. Nalanda University was destroyed 3 times by the invaders, but rebuilt only twice. The first destruction came from the Hun under Meherkul during the 5th century AD, but it was restored and enlarged. The second attack came in the early 7th century by the Gaurs. This time King Harshvardhan rebuilt the university. The third destruction in the 12th century by Khilji proved fatal, and it was destroyed forever. Bakhtiyar Khilji was a Turk army commander who had made a name for himself for the plundering expeditions across Bihar and mass slaughter of Buddhists and Hindus during his raids. Once he reached inside the premises of Mahavihar, every single teacher and student was killed. After the bloodshed of the unarmed and non-violent monks, he was standing in front of the great library of the university. It was the largest and greatest library of its time anywhere in the world, containing books on Buddhism, astrology, mathematics, medicines, and more. He looted the Mahavihar and obtained a great quantity of plunder. Before leaving the monastery, Khilji ordered the library and university to be put on fire. It was not a one-off event. Rather, it was part of the larger and systematic destruction of Buddhist monasteries and monuments, including the holiest of the Buddhist site, Bodh Gaya. After burning Nalanda Mahavihar, Khilji attacked the Udantapuri Mahavihar, which was hardly 6 kilometers away from Nalanda, repeating the same story of mass slaughter and plunder. Most of the monks of the monastery were either beheaded or burnt alive. Next was the turn of the famed Vikramshila University, Bodh Gaya Temple, and several other large and small monasteries dotted across the region. Udantapuri University was converted into the headquarters of the Turk army, from where they organized raids across eastern India. The persecution of Buddhist monks continued even after this infamous attack of Khilji. There were repeated attacks by small bands of Turkish soldiers for the next several decades, forcing the monks and students to simply desert the region forever. At the root of these repeated raids were the efforts by Buddhist monks and laity to revive the destroyed universities. Even after the burning and destruction of Nalanda University, it was not immediately deserted. Some daredevil monks from adjoining areas tried at least for 4 decades to revive the university, though they knew that they will be eventually killed by the Islamic soldiers for their efforts. A Tibetan monk, Dharmaswamin, has given an eyewitness account of one of such attacks at Nalanda Mahavihar by the Turk soldiers. He visited Nalanda in 1234 AD and also spent one rainy retreat in the premises of the destroyed and burnt Nalanda Mahavihar. He was a student of Rahul Sri Bhadra, who was a famous professor of Nalanda University and was now in his 90s. He was surviving on food provided by Jayadeva, a lay disciple from Udantapuri. Jayadeva was thrown into the prison of Udantapuri on treason charges, and while in prison, he somehow came to know about the planning of a fresh raid on the monks of Nalanda. He was able to get the message of the coming attack sent to the monks residing in the destroyed remains of Nalanda. Sri Bhadra felt that there was no meaning in his life as he was already very old. He asked his students and other monks to immediately vacate the Mahavihar. Everyone fled except Dharmaswamin, who was not ready to leave without his teacher. Finally, Rahul Sri Bhadra agreed to leave the monastery. Dharmaswamin carried his teacher on his back and fled from the place with a small supply of rice, sugar, and a few books obtained from the nearby Gyannath temple. Both of them were hiding in a small hiding hole near the temple when they saw around 300 Turk horsemen going towards Nalanda, fully armed and ready for the assault. Dharmaswamin says that he could not bring any book to Tibet as the library has been destroyed and burnt long time ago by the Turks, and he could not get a single copy of any manuscript. After the attack on Nalanda Mahavihar, the surviving monks from the region fled to more hospitable countries like China, Tibet, Nepal, Korea, and Southeast Asia. The Buddhist community life suffered a lot because of the collapse of the monasteries and the mass slaughter of monks. The destroyed remains of Nalanda were deserted after a few decades because of the continuous raids of Turks in the region. With time, it got covered with forest and was erased from the memory of people. Even the name Nalanda was forgotten, and instead, a village named Bargaon came up over the remains.